What is up, guys? So today I'm going to be talking about the differences between men and women. And believe it or not, from my experience, men are not from Mars and women are not from Venus. We're actually from the same Earth, which means we're actually pretty similar people. And that is what I want to talk about today, is the similarities that we have, as well as some of the minor differences we also have.
Girl, and you're gone too far, 'cause you know it don't matter anyway. You can rely on the old man's money. You can rely.
So let me start with social constructs that are put on men and women. So believe it or not, men have a tighter box of social constructs that they have to conform to compared to women. Men have this tiny little box that they have to stay in, and women have this big giant world that we get to have fun and express ourselves in. Men are super critical of each other, just like how women are super critical of each other. But men have this idea that they need to be this big, strong, burly person, and never show emotion. They never show emotion, and I think it causes so much harm to men. But they really do never show emotion, and it's just not allowed. When I was a kid, if I got hurt or something, or someone hurt my feelings, especially if someone hurt my feelings, this is the comment from my parents every time: you need to buck up and just get over it. And that's what I was talking all the time. And then my sister, she would have something wrong, and they'd be like, "Oh my gosh, are you okay, sweetie? Do you want to talk about it?" It's so different, the worlds. Men are put under this idea that they just need to throw some dirt on it and get over it, right? And women are just enabled, and they're like, "What can I do to help you?" And that is something that I think really harms men, is just to throw dirt on it, because they're not allowed to show emotion. And guess what? Emotion is not a female thing. It is a very human thing, meaning we all need to show emotion, and there's 7 basic emotions, and we need to show a healthy level and healthy dose of all 7 emotions, because if we suppress one emotion, it starts coming out in very erratic, terrible ways. For example, over drinking, risky behavior, stuff like that, and it's very harmful on men's health. Obviously, there's a lot of things that are harmful to women's health, but that's just for men's health. It's very dangerous, and we need to enable men to be able to talk about what they're feeling. Yeah, men need to be masculine and all this stuff, but they also need to be allowed to show emotion. So what are some social constraints put on women? Women are valued so much more than men on the basis of beauty, and this is something that I have noticed greatly. So when I walk into the bar as a man, I never had a girl come up to me and go, "Hey, you're looking pretty hot tonight," And if a girl did that, I'd be like, "Are you fucking joking? What are you on right now?" Right? But I walk into a bar and guys walk up and be like, "Yo, you are so gorgeous. Can I buy you a drink?" Since I was never raised for being valued because I was beautiful, today that doesn't stick with me. So if someone tells me I'm beautiful, I'm like, "Okay, cool, thanks." Cool, thanks. But women are raised with this idea that, oh, if you're beautiful, you're valued and stuff like that. So when a guy comes up to me and does it, I'm like, fuck off. Right? But for a lot of girls, they put so much of their life effort and so much value within themselves based on their outer appearance. And that is a social constraint that we need to change, because being physically attractive is important. It is important within society. We shouldn't base our entire self-worth on the basis of what we look like. We should value more how intellectual we are, our smarts, how socially smart we are, those kinds of things, not "you're beautiful," and I think a really good movie you guys should watch, the documentary, it's called Misrepresentation. I'll link it down below. It's on Netflix. You guys should definitely watch it. It talks about that kind of stuff, but that's something that women I would say are oppressed on is they're based off of a lot of beauty, and who they are is based off how beautiful they are. And that's something that we definitely need to change. So a couple pros about being a man. So one nice thing I miss so much about being a privileged white male and is just like being able to walk in and own it, and then just being taken as a legitimate person. You know, like if I walk into a business as a man and I say something, they're gonna listen to me. Or if I'm like a boss or any subject of leadership or hierarchy, like where I'm up there, if I walk in and I say something, damn it, they're gonna listen to me. As a man, that is so nice to have, and I don't think a lot of men realize that they have that. As a woman, you walk into a bar, and if you're some subject of leadership and you walk in and you tell a man you need to do this and this and this, they will sit there and they'll like laugh at you until you prove yourself. And you, not only does it take longer to prove yourself, but it takes like 10 times more of an effort to prove yourself that you are legitimate at your job and they need to listen to you. It happens to me all the time in the hockey world. Like, guys never take me as a legitimate person. Like, I have coached at multiple US national camps, stuff like that. And I walk into I bartend, and it's by this hockey rink, and these guys will be like bullshitting and talking about hockey, and I'll like comment something because I know what I'm talking about when it comes to hockey, and they'll just blow me off like what I have to say isn't valid at all because I'm a woman, right? And they don't believe I know what I'm talking about, especially when it comes to something so masculine. And it is so ridiculous, and it's so frustrating because I just have to like prove myself, and in that moment I definitely can't prove myself because I'm at a bar, not a hockey rink, so I can't prove myself, and it's just like ridiculous. Like, I'm so sick and tired of having to prove myself 10 times over to someone just to be taken as legitimate. And that's one nice thing as a man is you don't have to do that. You just walk in, and like, even if I knew nothing about hockey or anything, and like say I was an expert on basketball and I walked in and I started talking hockey, some guy's gonna listen to me if I was a guy more so than if I walked in today as a girl and talked to them about hockey. Like, it's ridiculous. But there are a couple pros to being a woman, and that is being able to show emotion. I love being able to show emotion, and it's not a sign of weakness. I was raised as it was a sign of weakness, and I know many guys are, and it has taken me so long to be able to show emotion and not feel it as a sign of weakness. But it is so rewarding just to know that I can cry and people are gonna be okay with it. Because if you see a guy cry, like, think about like John Boehner, the former Speaker of the House, like Republican, he cried. Just remember like how many people like gave him shit for it. And women, it's like acceptable to cry and acceptable to show emotion. And I think that's something that's really, really nice to be able to do, because that's something I was unable to do for so long, was show emotion. So the last thing I wanted to talk about is something that I was blown away about, and that is how similar relationships are between men and women. Like, if you go into a men's locker room, it is almost the same exact environment, same exact stuff, same exact raunchy, gross, touchy-feely stuff going on as in a women's locker room. Like, they're so similar, and that's what like I judge a lot of relationships based off as locker rooms. But men and men relationships are so similar to women and women relationships, and they act the same. It's like they're human. It's like a human locker room and a human locker room. But it's interesting because man to women relationships and female to man relationships are so vastly different. Like, a man to woman relationship is so much different than a female to man relationship. And like, it's because when a man walks in, they have to peacock, they have to get big, they have to get strong, they have to like show off, they have to do all this stuff. In a woman, what they do is they get submissive and they look down and they try to look beautiful, and it's just like crazy. And then like men always talk about bragging and doing all this stuff, and women, they're just like, they are to be quiet. I feel like that might not be right, but I feel like if you're a loud girl, like you're gonna be known as like the obnoxious one. But yeah, it's crazy how similar the relationships between men and women and women. And I'm talking about like personal relationships. I think when it comes into larger groups, it's definitely maybe different. I think like women are like in larger groups are much more catty and willing to throw people under the bus, as in men's groups they're not willing to do that as much, because if they do they'll just get their ass kicked. Women don't really do that. They're just kind of catty and they're kind of fearless, honestly, in big groups, especially women groups. They're kind of scary. But when it comes to like interpersonal relationships with other people, one-on-ones, men and men relationships are so much similar to female to female. So guys, I really hope you like this video. I just made another video. I'm not sure if I'm gonna post this one first or that one first. But basically what it comes down to is I don't really email anyone back. So if you have questions, right, please email me still. I am working really hard on finding time and being more motivated to make YouTube videos, and I am going to work on answering your questions within my YouTube videos, because what's going on is I have hundreds of people emailing me about trans stuff, and a lot of the email questions are identical. Like there's the same series of questions. Like there's like 5 different questions that 800, 900 people have sent me, so it's ridiculous. And I like to spend a long time and taking a considerate time on replying to these emails, and it takes me like 15-20 minutes per email, and it takes so long, and I just get emotionally drained sending email after email after email, especially when it's the same stuff and it's like sad stuff, and it's really hard, and it makes me feel really sad for what these people are going through. But it is I need to look out for myself too and my emotional well-being. So I'm gonna try to do my best at answering those questions in videos. That way I can kind of just answer questions to everyone. And so make sure that if you do send me an email, you look up my videos and make sure I haven't answered that question in the past, because a lot of my answers are going to be the same as they were 2-3 years ago. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you later. Bye guys.